Hello everyone, today we are going to understand about the historical background of Indian Constitution. For understanding the historical background of Indian Constitution, we can divide into the two parts. First one is a company rule, other one is a crown rule, and we will be dealing with the two part of company rule and the crown rule with two parts. In first part, that is today, we are going to understand about the company rule that started in the year of 1773 and that goes up to the 1858. The first act that came in the year 1773, that was regulating act, and in that it designated governor of Bengal as a governor general of Bengal, and the first governor general of Bengal was Lord Warren Hastings, and the governor of Bombay and Madras presidency were made subordinate to governor general of Bengal, and it prohibited the servant of East India Company to engage in the private trade, and it provided for the establishment of a Supreme Court which had jurisdiction over all inhabited of the Calcutta, and the first Chief Justice of that Supreme Court was Eliza Emphe. The second act which came, that was Pitt's India Act 1784, and it clearly distinguished the commercial and the political function of company because they created that court of director and the board of control. Court of director was responsible for the commercial affairs and the board of control was responsible for the political affair. That we call that it created a double government, and for the first time the company territories were called the British possession in the India. The third one was the Charter Act of 1793, and in that the Governor General was given overriding power over the Governor of Presidencies, and the company's trade monopoly in India was extended for another 20 years, and East India Company had to pay payment of employees and board of control from the Indian revenue. And then comes to the Charter Act 1813. In that it ended the trade monopoly of East India Company in India except trade in tea and trade with China, and also it allows the Christian missionaries were allowed in India to preach their religion, and Western education needed to spread among the inhabitant of the British territories in India, and the allocation of 1 lakh rupee was done to achieve the same. Then comes to the famous St. Helena Act, which is a Charter Act of 1833. In that it ended the activities of East India Company as a commercial body and making it purely an administrative body, and in that we changed the designation of the Governor General of Bengal as Governor General of India, and the first Governor General of India was the Lord William Bentinck, and the Governor General was vested with all civil and military power. An exclusive legislative power was given to Governor General of India for the entire British India, and the principle of non-discrimination included no Indian to be denied employment under the company based on the religion and color, and provision for abolition of the slavery. It was abolished in the year 1843, but we see here provision as well, and the provision for the open competition negated for the civil services in this Charter Act. And apart from that, the final step towards the centralization in the British India, and India first law commission was constituted which drafted the Indian Penal Code in the 1860. And lastly the Charter Act of the 1853 came, and in that it separated the legislative and executive function of Governor General Council, and Indian Central Legislative Council function as a mini parliament, and they introduced an open competition for the selection and recruitment of the civil services. Thus the civil service was made open to Indians too, and it was the first step was led for the inclusion of Indian in the administrative affairs. So this was all about the company rule that lasted from 1773 to 1858. In the next part, we will be understanding about the crown rule that started in the year 1858 and that goes up to the 1947. So for more such video, like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.